Hey guys, it's me, Cupid. I have schizophrenia. So today I am going to be showing a video of someone else's story. I don't know if you guys already know, but I'm not just taking someone else's story and throwing it out there. I had people write in, so they could either send me a video or they could send me somehow in writing their story. So had them message me. You can either message me on Instagram, or if you already know my Facebook, you can message me on Facebook. I'm not going to be giving out my Facebook to just anyone, so if you can, tell me your story, and you don't know my Facebook already, just contact me on Instagram. I don't usually add just anybody on my Facebook, so it is a little different between Instagram and Facebook. So anyways, today we are going to be talking about or listening to At1's story. I hope you guys enjoy. Here's his story.
Hi. Today I've been invited to speak about my mental illness by Cupid or Caitlin. I'm not sure which name the person goes by. I've had a pretty long history with mental illness. I would say that my symptoms started in 1980, maybe the early 80s. And my first mental illness that manifested was PTSD. I was having nightmares and avoidance behavior. I was being traumatized frequently. I've witnessed a parent attempt suicide. That was pretty rough. When I tell people that, they usually have a strong reaction, stronger than I had at the time. She was not able to complete the attempt because she was stopped physically by my father, and I was there. It was my dad, my mom, and me. I don't know if he remembers it. My mother's now deceased. She's been deceased for 17 years now. Come August 23rd, she'll be deceased for 17 years. So it's 16 right now, I guess. Anyway, my mom had bipolar disorder, and that is one of my mental illnesses, is bipolar disorder. So I grew up in a household with mental illness, and in the early 90s, I was starting high school, and I started cutting. I think I started cutting when I was around 15 or so. So that's right around 1990, 1991. A classmate of mine showed me an X-Acto razor, or X-Acto knife. It's basically a razor, but you get very fine precision from it. You know, it's supposed to be for art, but you know. One time, speaking of X-Acto knives, one time I went to a hospital ER. This was 2018. This is a couple years ago. I brought an X-Acto knife with me into the ER. You're not supposed to have any weapons in an ER, which makes sense. I was homeless at the time, and I've been homeless for a while, actually, living on the streets. Don't do it. I don't recommend it unless you want to get stabbed or shot or killed. I was able to avoid that just by sheer luck, I think, because I was on the streets long enough where something bad could happen to me. Something bad did happen to me several times. It's just that I recovered and survived. But, you know, it's hard having mental illness and being homeless. There's no medications, you know, there's no doctors, you know, it's different when you're homeless. Anyway, so in the early 90s I was cutting, so I was very depressed, and I wasn't suicidal though, because I didn't really know what suicide was. I mean, I knew what it was, like by the definition of suicide, but I didn't really know what it was. You know, at that age, I had not attempted suicide. Since then, I have attempted suicide. I mean, depending on what you call an attempt, somewhere between 3 and 6 times. I've driven the wrong way on a freeway, but I wasn't trying to kill myself. I was just Anyway, so in the early 90s, that was happening, and then I started college. I went to a community college, and things were pretty good there. I got almost straight A's, but physics 2, fuck you. Physics 2, I got a B, and then psychology of consciousness, which was a great class, I got a B. I think he was running it like a junior level class, and we were sophomores. It was a community college, so it's a really good class, but I got a B, so that ruined my GPA. I think I had like a 3.9 in community college, and then at Berkeley, uh, my GPA fucking tanked. Technically, I shouldn't have graduated, so I kind of don't really deserve my diploma in a sense. My GPA was like as low as you can get without being on academic probation. And I never was on academic probation, or maybe I was. See, I got an F, I got a couple of D's. These were in math classes, so for me, it was very disheartening to get D's and F's in math classes, because I'm used to getting all A's in math classes. And anyway, mental illness. I was doing pretty good during the late 90s. That's when I was graduating from Cal, and then I went on to graduate school, and at this point I was married. That was my first of 2 marriages. My marriage was going very south, as in we were gonna separate and get divorced, which we did. So during the divorce, actually, I had a 4.0 in graduate school, but I got 2 A minuses because I was going through a divorce, and I was like, I don't even know how I managed to graduate. Like, I guess, perseverance, but I don't know how I had that. I don't have that much perseverance right now. It would be hard for me to sit through one class, let alone, dozens of classes. Like, I couldn't imagine doing that again. I definitely, my heart wouldn't be in it, Actually, I got it, mental illness, that's right. I'm not sure when my first suicide attempt was. Yeah, I'm not really going to dwell on that. I'll try not to dwell on it. So in 2003, that's the next important, date along this chronological journey. In 2003, my mom passed away, August 23rd, and I don't think I ever did recover from that. When my mom died, it was very hard for me. I'm sure it was hard for my entire family, my brother and my father. I can't imagine what it was like for him. Anyway, my mom, I had a lot of resentment for my mom, but now I don't. It takes one to know one, and I am one. So I know her, and she knows me. And that was my first stint as homeless. So I was living in a homeless shelter in Davis, California, on 1111 H Street. I highly recommend that shelter. Although I was homeless again in 2018, 15 years later. One of the persons is still working there, but on the phone they told my spouse that I could sleep there. Then when I got there, they like saw my face and they're like, "Nope, we don't want you." They thought it was for her, calling, and it's because they don't like to give a bed to people who can get a bed at home, somewhere else. And I don't think they believed that I needed the bed, because my spouse and I we were separating, and she was basically throwing me out of the house. Although it wasn't her, it was the landlord. I made a couple of scenes, one with some off-road car usage and things like that. But anyway, in 2003, I was definitely going through mood instability. I was having ultra rapid cycling, which means, here's what ultra rapid cycling means. There's rapid cycling and there's ultra rapid cycling. I was going through ultra rapid cycling. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but ultra rapid cycling is from when your mood switches around, and it could switch in a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it can switch, and it probably will switch. So whatever you were on for a while, it could just switch, you know. But anyway, ultra rapid is like 5 minutes or less change of emotion. So one day, one moment, I'm feeling like elated and happy, you know, and the next moment I'm just devastated, you know, and I was crying a lot, and you know, there's death does not have a quota in terms of tears, you know. There's no way to cry enough for people, you know. So in 2003, I became homeless, and after that, I was still a professor, adjunct professor of math, but I worked part time at various schools, and that just fizzled out. It's like, I've already had 1,000 students. I mean, roughly, could have been 800, could have been 1,200, but I've estimated that I've done the count. I've taught 29 or 30 classes. I forget. Usually I would know. So my mental illness was kind of taking over in a way. I actually quit I was a lecturer at a university, full time. I was getting like, I don't know, I think my adjusted gross income was like 50,000 for a single person. Now, there was also, I'm dual diagnosis, so there's a lot of substance abuse issues. Maybe we can talk about that at a different time. I'm clean and sober. I don't drink, and I don't use heavy drugs anymore. If you're going to use heavy drugs and drink while I have mental illness, you're just setting yourself up for failure. If you've got mental illness, it's even more important that you stay sober, because people with mental illness, those intoxicating drugs, seem to be more potent, you know, for people with mental illness, and they can just wreck everything, you know. Meth can kind of cause a mania, for sure. Just one dose of meth can cause a mania. And mania, like my longest mania lasted for about 4 or 5 months. And I didn't sleep hardly ever. I was on the streets of Sacramento, living near Sutter Fort, if you know where that is. It sucks to get rained on when you're sleeping. That's what trees are for. And my mental illness kind of took over, and you know, I like lost all motivation to plug into the 3D world that a lot of people are plugged into. So I'm kind of but anyway, I religiously take my medication and work with my doctor to get on the right meds and get off the wrong meds, because when I go off my medications, I get boom, psychotic episode, manic episode, who knows what, you know. Have you ever heard of a mixed state for bipolar? You're not manic, you're not depressed, you're both. You're both manic and depressed. So depression without mania is safer than depression with mania. Because if you have depression with mania, that means you're fueled with the infinite energy to kill yourself. That's not good. It's better to be depressed without mania. But anyway, mixed state, you know. Anyway, I take my medication because if I go off my meds, I have had a seizure from going off meds. That was Seroquel. If you ever stop Seroquel, go off it very slowly. And you know, I'm not quite sure what else to share, so I'm gonna stop it there.
Alright, so that was At1's story. I hope you guys are enjoying listening to other people's stories. I know that it can get tiring listening to just my story all the time, but I do know that people like having someone that they can relate to and having someone that they can understand, and I am enjoying watching these videos and listening to other people's stories. So far has been pretty wonderful and amazing stories. So if you guys want to write in with your story, please feel free to. And that is it for today. Stay beautiful, stay wonderful, stay amazing, stay awesome, stay unique. Stay you, and above all else, you guys, love yourselves. Peace and love.